The president's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, has been getting some heavy criticism from the left. Now let's go to Carrie Severino, the president of the Judicial Crisis Network. You're a Supreme Court watcher. Carrie, just tell us what to expect from these upcoming Senate hearings.
Luckily, it's not something that's open to the public because of COVID. So hopefully we don't have the kinds of Code Pink-like protesters we had during the Kavanaugh confirmation, where literally hundreds of people had to be arrested for disrupting the hearings. The disruptions I would worry about are going to be coming from the senators themselves. We know that during the Kavanaugh hearings, they were interrupting each other, interrupting the Republicans on the committee. I'm hoping they can contain themselves this time. I'm hoping they can step away from where Senator Feinstein and Senator Durbin went during her confirmation to the appellate court, which was going straight for her religion and trying to accuse her of being Catholic effectively. It's violating Constitution's rule against religious tests for office. I think you're going to see people trying to pin her down, maybe on both sides of the aisle, on making statements about promising how she would rule on a specific case. She can't do that. That violates judicial ethics. And like Justice Ginsburg said, no hints, no forecasts, no previews. Ginsburg didn't answer dozens of questions about how she'd rule in specific cases. We're going to see that from Barrett as well. That has to do with judicial ethics rules. But you know what? I think it's going to be exciting for the American people to see her. She's really poised and articulate. And I think it's going to be a wonderful view of really our next Supreme Court justice.
Carrie, given the makeup of the court, assuming she does get seated, so many people ask me, is Roe v. Wade at risk? What say you?
Well, look, that is not an issue that's before the court right now, and it's not something that Amy Coney Barrett actually has a clear record on, which is not surprising. It's not something that has come before her as a judge yet. So I think the left likes to use this as a scaremongering technique, but it's something that I think you'd have to, on top of which, you'd have to get 5 votes on the court to do anything. I think much more likely is we see the court continuing as it is, taking each small question in this area of the law at a time.
I think one of the other big issues is gun rights. I think Amy Coney Barrett is a pro-Second Amendment advocate, yeah?
She's not an advocate, but she does have some great opinions on Second Amendment cases. The one that comes to mind for me had to do with a felon in possession of a gun. And this case she dissented in, but she said, actually, when you look at the original history, you can't just remove someone's Second Amendment rights simply because they committed a felony. In that case, it had to do with Medicaid fraud because he was improperly advertising his shoe inserts as approved under Medicaid. I mean, this is so nonviolent, it's hard to imagine something more benign. So she said you could actually potentially remove someone's gun rights if they were shown to be dangerous, even if they weren't a felon. But just saying automatically if you're a felon, you're necessarily dangerous, that doesn't comport with the history of that understanding the Second Amendment.
About 20 seconds or so, what are the odds of Amy Coney Barrett actually getting seated prior to the election?
I think we're on track to have a vote before the election. So I think we could definitely see her on the court, which would be great for all those cases that may come down with election law in them right after the election.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Carrie Severino, thank you very much for your time. Again, with I believe she's 48 years old, 48-year-old Amy Coney Barrett, that could be a conservative Supreme Court for a very, very long time. Carrie, thank you.